What's going on, everybody? Today is Tuesday, and we're about to get real deep with talking about being vulnerable equaling strength rather than equaling weakness, right? We are told that being vulnerable is a sign of weakness, right? Being vulnerable is a sign of weakness when actually it's not, right? Let's just be honest and get to the point, right? So right now, if you're here joining in, hashtag I'm here. If you're joining the replay, we're gonna wait a few minutes until we get a few more people join in. Hashtag replay. Fast forward to about like 5 minutes or so. Let me see where I am here. Okay. What is going on? It's a pleasure to have you guys. Thank you so much for joining in today. Remember, it is a beautiful Tuesday. I hope you all are having the greatest day. Let's start out by hearing some wins in the comments. And it doesn't have to be fitness wins. It doesn't have to be nutrition wins. It can be just a win from the day that you are having today. So let's hear it in the comments below. I want to actually go ahead and share a win of mine. And it's being able to get the boys used to a little bit more of a structure in the morning once I'm done with in-person client trainings, because then it helps us to go enjoy the park really quick just for like an hour and then come back, get them a little bit more active. And then always as an entrepreneur and a business owner, and you have kids and or you're a guardian and or you have pets, you have to make sure that your workflow is always going to be changing, right? You have to know that your workflow is changing. And at that point, you know what works, maybe what doesn't work. But this time, now it works to get them ready. Either brush their hair. My kids take a little while to get ready. So it's a win when I'm like, hey, can I brush your hair? And then the next thing, like, all right, brother's turn. Yeah, let me go brush his hair. and then the next thing is, oh, look, can I put the shirt on you? And then they're like, okay. And then they kind of just do it. And then the next step is like, oh, hey, can I put your shoes on? And then they're, okay. So it has to be like a step by step in order to get them ready. But that was my win today, is being able this week to incorporate, even starting last week, is to, hey, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this before it gets really hot. Remember, if we go now, it will be a little hotter later, so we'll beat the heat. And then from that point, then it's easier for them to get ready and realize, hey, I'm finally ready to go. Okay, let's go. And then still sometimes have a meltdown, but now they're okay, right? You're always going to have a meltdown. You're always going to have something happen in order, unfortunately, if you want to go and leave somewhere. I'm going to take these glasses off because yesterday my eyes were extremely dry. So my contacts were not working. I don't know if any of you wear contacts or glasses. What do you like better, glasses or contacts? Right now I'm telling you contacts because these glasses are bothering me. But all right, enough chit chat. We have a few people that showed up. Thank you again for showing up, everybody. Remember, vulnerability, we'll be getting right into it, bringing you some value. Being vulnerable does not equal weakness. It doesn't matter what society is telling us. It doesn't matter who is looking at us. It doesn't matter that everybody is trying to have their shit together, right? Nobody has their shit together, but we always want to have the perception that we do. And then if someone shows that they don't have their shit together, then they're looked down upon as like, oh my gosh, this person is not doing well. They don't have their stuff together. I'm glad nobody knows that I don't have my shit together, right? But in truth, behold, none of us do have our shit together, right? Nothing goes as planned all the time. Sometimes it does, and then those are freak accidents. You're like, well, this is a great day. Everything's going the way it's planned. But we don't always have to have this perception or have people worry about what others are thinking about us because of the perception that we want to hold up, that we have everything together and we're always on time. We're always here. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate you joining. You rock too. But Not all of us have our shit together, you guys. So being vulnerable and saying, you know what? And that's why I tell you, as a personal trainer, I didn't have all my stuff together. I wasn't born out of the womb, and then all of a sudden I have my shit together of being in shape and being skinny all my life. God bless you too, man. I appreciate it. But so I struggled. I would struggle, and I would still struggle. I always struggle here and there sometimes with. Some days I can always tell differences. Some days I don't want to work out. Some days I do. Some days I'm not motivated, and usually I'm not motivated at all to work out. I just do it. And then in the time, I'm okay, well, let me see if I can lift heavier. I'm not motivated to always be like, all right, let me go to the gym, let me do this. It's just ingrained in my soul, ingrained in my schedule, and ingrained in my head that I know how much better I feel when I'm done than I would if I didn't work out. Even on my days that I have active rest days and I don't actually do like a structured full on workout, sometimes it's hard for me. That's the struggle is I'm like, oh, I gotta work out. No, allow myself this time off. I can still be vulnerable and say, you know, I struggle with having times off. I just love the feeling that I get after I do work out, that I feel accomplished, right? Let me know which one of you feel the same. Like, do you feel accomplished when you work out, or do you just feel like that was the most worst workout I did and I'm never doing it again? Or do you just feel that it is something that you have to get done, like a chore, right? Doesn't rock. Sorry. That's all right. Don't worry about it. You don't have to apologize. It's perfectly fine. But being vulnerable, and that's totally up to you, but being vulnerable to yourself is very important. So letting yourself know, you know what, this is where I need to fix. This is something that I need to do for me because of how much struggle that I've had. Remember, all the struggle that you've had, all the times that you have been put down. I know I remember the times perfectly when I was put down because I was too fat. I was too heavy. I was a kid. I was on a swim team. We had to wear Speedos. I wasn't the skinniest kid in the team at all. So I would get made fun of because I was a fat kid wearing a Speedo, and we were doing laps. We were doing laps. Now, I don't know what hurts more on your self-confidence about other people talking about you, and then you get it ingrained that, oh yeah, I am fat, I am ugly, I am this horrible person for being overweight. And then now all of a sudden you're thinking about it in the back of your head. Now you're self-conscious, and then you do horrible at the laps when you were doing so well before, and then all of a sudden your team just doesn't win because now you're not good at doing the laps, even though you were doing fine before that, but you just heard people talking about you. And then at that point, you don't want to seem weak. You don't want to seem vulnerable. You don't want to cry, because then at that point, then they're going to win, right? They're going to make fun of you. So they're like, I want this person to cry. I want them to feel bad. So I want to keep making fun of them to show that it bothers them. When in fact, took everything inside of me to say, I don't want to show them that this hurts me. So I'm just going to ignore what I'm hearing. And then I'm going to go ahead and keep going with my day. But then later on, I had to be more truthful with myself and remember that moment that said, you know what? Yes, you may be a little overweight for your age. Yes, you may be fitting in bigger clothes for your age than most of the guys and girls in your school class, but you can do something about it, and you're already doing something about it. You're trying to stay in sports. You're trying to do this. You're trying to do that. So being vulnerable with yourself is more important than being vulnerable with others, especially if you don't have the trust factor, because you need to build a relationship with others to be able to be vulnerable with them. And it's very hard to be vulnerable with someone if you're always feeling judged, right? So I want to be vulnerable with you guys and say, I don't always have my shit together. Not every day I'm on here at 12:30. Some days it's 12:45. My kids are having meltdowns, or they're fighting, and I just could not get in here on time, right? Or computer issues are happening, or my phone dies, or something happens. Everything happens, but the thing is, when you let that vulnerability be real and say, you know, it's okay. I'm just going to keep going. But I realize that I messed up, and then that's okay. But do better the next time. Maybe see if we can just, all right, kids, I'll be right back. Bam, bam. Let me go out there without telling them bye. Or I don't know. Instead of being vulnerable with other people, you need to be more vulnerable with yourself. Because if you're not truthful with yourself, how are you going to work and make yourself that 1% better every single day, right? If you don't realize what you're working on the inside, it's okay not to have your shit together. It's okay not to be perfect. Who in the heck cares? Honestly, nobody really does care. They can talk, but those people that talk poorly about you and are talking about you are the ones that are having bigger and worse problems with themselves. They are not able to deal with their self, so they want to self-project on others and make others feel bad to help them feel a little bit better about themselves. So if you are having a hard time being more vulnerable with yourself, or being vulnerable with somebody else or with your friends, and those friends are the ones that are talking behind you and that are discouraging you, those are not your friends, right? Being vulnerable with yourself, my son's calling me. Hold on, Zion. Okay. But being vulnerable with yourself is more important than being vulnerable with somebody else. And then when you are vulnerable with yourself, you are able to build strength and realize, okay, I'm vulnerable in this area, but how am I going to do better? How am I going to make myself better? Once you feel that you can start working on yourself and realize that it's okay not to have your shit together, and it's okay not to be this perfect person that everybody looks up at you and say, oh my God, they're perfect, I want to be like them. But then all of a sudden they realize that you're just like them, that you're the same, right? Not everybody on Instagram or on Facebook or what you see in little snippets are perfect. Everybody has their struggles. Everybody has certain things that they're trying to deal with. But for the most part, are they being more vulnerable with themselves? Are they showing you some vulnerability? Are you showing yourself some vulnerability? Are you thinking it's too weak? Let's hear in the comments below. What do you think being vulnerable is to you? Now, is it really important for you? It is important for me, because being vulnerable with myself and with my kids and with my wife is being able to help me become stronger, because I can realize, okay, this is what's happening. I can also have somebody help me get better at what I'm doing wrong or what I feel most vulnerable in. And then I'm able to come up with a plan. I'm able to say, you know what, I'm going to better myself this way. I'm going to better myself this way. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, right? So if you're not vulnerable with others, that is perfectly fine. And whatever they perceive of you, let them perceive whatever they want, because they're not the ones that are trying to better themselves because they want to judge or they want to be people to gossip about you. Let them talk. You know what the truth is. And if you don't hear them, are they actually talking about you, right? So is it actually happening? Because if people are talking about me and I don't know about it, did it really happen? Not really, to me, not at all. But that's where it should help you realize is like, hey, I'm vulnerable with myself and I know where I can do better, so I'm going to do better. But if you're not being able to be vulnerable with yourself, then how do you expect to be better than you were yesterday? And be better than you were an hour ago? Be better than you were last year? You need to be able to look at these vulnerability. Thank you. I'm so glad you're getting value from this, everybody. You need to look at your vulnerability and realize it. Don't let it stick there. Don't let it stay there. But see where you can better yourself because of it. And in that sense, you'll be able to grow. You will be able to get out of that funk that you were in for the last month or two, right? You're able to look at yourself and say, I'm I'm owning this today. I'm going to own it tomorrow, and I'm going to own it this week. It doesn't matter what's going to kick me in the ass today or tomorrow or yesterday. I'm going to look at it and say, you know what? This is where I can better myself. So I'm going to continue being better, and being able to be vulnerable to myself is going to help me become that 1% better than I was before. So hopefully this has helped you become that 1% better than you were yesterday or last week or last month or last year, right? The years go by so fast, everybody. So remember that you don't always have a lot of time. Sometimes a year is like, oh, right, I got a year. That's pretty far. And then all of a sudden you're hitting it, right? So are you going to be vulnerable and build on top of that vulnerability, so you're not looking at it as a failure, but you're looking at it as more of, what can I learn from this? And what can I do better from this, right? How can I be better from this situation that I'm dealing with right now? Now, that's where you win. So hopefully you all have gotten a lot of value from this today. It's more of motivational and something that I always deal with. It's not that I have everything together. I'm constantly working, and then I'm constantly being a dad. You know how it all goes. If you're all in the same boat as being busy and having other priorities at the same time, this can help you. And if anybody else is dealing with vulnerability, or you know that may benefit from this video, send them a link to this, have them watch this, and hopefully that has helped them. Because all I want them to do is be better than they were yesterday, or you be better than you were today for tomorrow, right? All right, everybody, have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Coach Isaac is out.